So why don't we talk a minute about who the sons of the prophets were?
Yes.
Okay. So per Bible Gateway, they say that the term is a technical one referring to the members of a prophetic order or guild, and it has no reference to physical descent from a prophet. So
Right.
the sons of the prophets were basically a guild who served God
Right.
and kind of lived in this prophetic lifestyle.
Right.
They were
Strangely enough, they were like the Mandalorians. You know,
This
like
is the way.
like this is the way. Exactly. I kind of mean that in that way. Like they had a prophet who they followed,
yeah.
and it was a prophet of God who they followed. You know. Yes.
So I found this quote from T.M. Suffield, and he said that the sons of the prophets were a reform movement from within Israel. They had no real cultural power, for all Elisha occasionally spoke with the king in a much less combative role than Elijah had. He also seems much less interested in the monarchy than Elijah was, which is another of the Bible's grand patterns, from priest or servants to king, ruler, to prophet, member of the divine council. Why would you be interested in kings when there are prophets to speak with?
Right.
So it's kind of an interesting. Then he, so the sons of the prophets are this. They're basically holding the way.
Right.
And we see Elisha is more interested in talking to people like them than he is talking to kings and governments.
It's interesting because that is how First Kings begins, right? So you have the judges who were in a lot of ways prophetic, right? They heard from God and they said, go out among these people, don't do this. And they were judges also because they helped enforce law, as well. Yeah. But what's really interesting here is you have that same idea of God says, why would you want a king when you've got me? And these sons of the prophets were kind of that remnant of those people that were like, yeah, kings are terrible. Let's just go straight to the source. Let's go to the guy who's hearing from God. So these are kind of those early, there are early Jews, but these are kind of like those old school Jews, like the remnant that, because there were some even who were skeptic of Saul, and I mean, obviously, rightfully so, we see that. And so by this point, it's interesting to say, by this point in history of Israel, we've already got a remnant that's like, all right, never mind. We should probably go back to just listening to God.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So this happens, this little situation happens around Jericho. Okay. And what we see here, 2 Kings 2, 7-8, now 50 men of the sons of the prophets went and stood opposite them at a distance, while the two of them stood by the Jordan, and Elijah took his coat, folded it, and struck the waters, and they were divided here and there so that the two of them crossed over on dry ground. So that's the reference for what we've already discussed, right? But I wanted to read that because we'll touch on that here a little bit later. But again, this is the sons of the prophets witnessed all of this,
right?
Recognized all of this. They see that Elisha is the new guy in town,
right?